Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I am going to be playing around with and testing out E.L.F's new Retro Paradise eyeshadow palette. I was so intrigued and in love with this the second that I saw this come out online. I have been loving all of E.L.F cosmetics lately. I love so many of their products, and when I saw this and the whole Retro Paradise collection, I know I had to have something from it. The whole collection is very like tropical inspired. I believe it's like based off of like the Bahamas, and a bunch of different beauty influencers actually came together to create this collection. So I will definitely have the collection linked down below, but it is just so beautiful. I knew I had to grab something. I wanted to get the whole entire collection, but I'm still trying to have some self-control here. So I figured I would just pick up the eyeshadow palette. It was around $14 and I am so happy that I got this. It is beyond gorgeous. So I'm going to be playing around with this today. This comes with 18 different shades. I mean, look at this, you guys. I'm so excited to create a look with this. I have tried other E.L.F shadows in the past. I'm sure you guys know recently I have been obsessing over their bite-size eyeshadows. If the formula in the Retro Paradise is anything like this, then I'm sure that I will love it. However, I'm not exactly sure how it's going to perform because I also have this, which is E.L.F's Opposite Attract palette. And although I do like it, I didn't love it. I thought the quality could be better, but I do believe that this was the very first 18 pan palette that E.L.F put out, so hopefully the quality is better than this. Like I said, this wasn't bad, it just wasn't my absolute favorite, and the bite-sized shadows were definitely way better than this larger Opposites Attract by a long shot. So I'm hoping the Retro Paradise today is going to resemble the bite-sized formula more, but I know, like I said, a lot of beauty influencers worked really hard on curating this collection, and I'm sure that they would not give us anything less than good quality. So let's go ahead and jump on into the application and let's find out how the shadows are. So I really hope that you guys enjoy seeing this video, and if you want to see me play around with and test out the E.L.F Retro Paradise palette, make sure to keep on watching. Let's jump on into the application. I think I'm going to take the purple shade first. As I said, I saw a couple of tutorials. I saw Juicy Jazz do like this really pretty purple and blue look, so I think I'm going to try to do something like that because I play around with warm tones and neutrals a lot. So I'm going to take this purple shade, which is called Tropicana or Tropicana, I think would be the proper way to say it. But I'm going to take this purple shade right here in my crease, and I'm just going to fluff that all over my crease like I would any normal transition. Whoa, okay, so far this seems to be very, very pigmented. There is a little bit of kickback in the pan, if you guys can see right there, but honestly, you guys know that doesn't really bother me too much unless the shadow like totally and completely starts to crumble. So I'm just going to take this and just start applying this into the crease. I really hope this shows up. A lot of the times these like light lavender shades, they just kind of tend to blend away. So I'm hoping this one is nice. I just switched over actually to a little bit more of a dense brush, and the color is showing up a lot more intense. I think the first brush that I just had was a little bit too fluffy looking. Maybe I'll zoom you guys in a little bit. So far, I definitely feel like that purple shade went on really nicely. It's not patchy or anything like that and blended beautifully. I do wish it was a little bit more intense though. I think for like future note to self, this would probably be better with like a really light, almost white base, just to get the true pigment of that color to show, because I just feel like it's a lot more vibrant in the pan if I put it next to my face than it's actually applying on the eye. But I'm going to quickly switch brushes. I'm going to switch to this Sigma E38 diffused crease. This tends to pack on the color even more densely, and I'm going to try to focus this right in the crease of my eye. Oh yeah, I definitely see a difference already in just the intensity. This is probably one of those shades that does better really packed on instead of blended away. So I'm just going to keep like packing this on and trying not to move it around too much. Okay, now we're getting somewhere with that. This is definitely getting very vibrant. I am absolutely dying to use one of these shimmery blue shades, so the two that I'm deciding between, I'll probably end up using both, is this one here, which is called Disco. This is a little bit more of like a deep indigo-y type blue, and then this beautiful light teal here, can you guys see right there, is called Sip Sip. So let me swatch both of them. Ooh, okay, both of those are really pretty. This one right here is Disco, and this one is called Sip Sip. Honestly, I think I'm just gonna go straight in with Sip Sip because I want to keep the look kind of like light and bright and summery looking. Both of those look really nice. I am going to wet my brush because this is just something typical that I do with more shimmery, colorful shades, just to make sure that I am getting the most payoff that I can from them. I'm going to try this with my finger too, just because that's usually the quickest way for me to apply lid shades. And that's actually going on really nicely. If anything, wow, that's a lot more vibrant than with the brush. These colors are really out of my comfort zone, but I am loving them. I still have to do some more blending. I want to try to blend out the edge of this purple, but I think to mesh the lid shade a little bit better with this purple, I'm now going to take the Disco shade, which is the shimmery purpley blue. I think this will kind of make a really nice gradient shade, kind of applying it right here, so the light teal blends a little bit more seamlessly into the lilac shade. I don't know that I like this shade as much as the other one. I feel like it wasn't really showing up, and it did fall out a lot on the face, and now that I wet it, it's kind of just like sticking in place and not really blending. So far this Disco shade is giving me a little bit of a tough time compared to the other shades that I tried today. Right now I'm just kind of going in with my finger back and forth with the teal shade and then the Disco shade, just trying to make this a little bit more seamless, because I feel like the Disco shade is not really working too well. If you guys can see dry, this does not show up at all with the brush. It's literally just like falling off of the brush and onto my face. So I do have to go in and wet this one, but then it's like kind of sticks and doesn't blend. Okay, so I don't know if I like kind of messed up this look by adding that Disco shade. It's not really blending how I would want it to blend. It's just kind of like sticking. I don't know how it's pulling on camera, if you guys can see, but it's just kind of sticking and like clumping up a little bit in that outer corner. I think I have to work on the crease a little bit more and add more of that purple, because as I kind of suspected, I feel like I am losing it a little bit as I'm playing with my eyes more and kind of touching and blending things. A lot of the time these like lighter pastel shades kind of disappear. So I'm just going to try to touch up the crease, and I want to see if I could blend out the edges without losing a lot of this color. I've officially decided I do not like that Disco shade at all. I felt like we were doing pretty good until I decided to go there with the look. I feel like it's showing up, but not really. Also, do you see this like blank spot in the purple? I keep adding more and more color and it's not really filling in, but I'm not getting that really on this side. Maybe a little bit. I don't know. So far this is not my favorite. I really do like the blue Sip Sip shade on my lid. I think what I am going to do is make this like a 2-part kind of video and come back another day and do another look, maybe with some of these neutrals, because I don't want to write the whole entire palette off just because some of these colors aren't working for me. So I really want to test it out. I want to play around with it. I don't like writing things off, really, especially eyeshadow, when it comes to just a first impression. I don't think it looks bad. I definitely think it looks pretty. I really like the color combination, but again, it's just not my favorite formula. I'm just gonna leave it at that. I feel like the more that I touch this look, the less that I like it. I love these colors together though. I never do anything like this. It feels very like mermaid, oceany type colors. I just don't know that I'm loving the formula, but I'm gonna go ahead and throw on some mascara, kind of gather my thoughts, also finish up the rest of my face so we can come back and try out another shade on my lower lash line. So I'll be right back. I'm going to go in and finish the lower lash line now. I think I'm just gonna go in with a couple of the same colors. So first I'm taking the light lilac shade again. I'm taking this on a very dense, this is the Sigma E20 short shader. And I wanna see how it applies with this because I just feel like this color is disappearing in my crease. So I'm not sure if it will stay any more intense with a really dense brush like this one. Just gonna fluff it out a little bit here. It's not bad on the lower lash line. I actually think it looks pretty good there. Now on the inner corners of my eyes, I'm going to highlight with the shade Sea Salt right here. I'm a little nervous about this because this looks like a very intense, like really bright white, really intense, like glittery shade. So I definitely am going to spray the brush because I just have a feeling this is going to have some fallout with the amount of glitter that's in this shadow. Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah, that's really, really intense. A little bit on the chunky side. I actually really like this. I usually don't prefer such a stark white inner corner type of shade, but I think with more of a cool tone pastel-y eye like this, it kind of works and I actually really like it. So I'm just gonna quickly go ahead and throw on some lower lash mascara, also gonna toss on a lip, and then I will come back with my final thoughts. All right, you guys, so here is the final look using E.L.F's Retro Paradise palette. I have to say, I actually really like how it turned out. I know I was kind of skeptical as it was going, but it really ended up coming together at the end. When it comes to the actual quality of the shadows, I feel like they could be better. I do still think that so far the bite-sized eyeshadows are better quality. My favorite one that I thought was the best was definitely the teal Sip Sip shade that I have on the majority of my lid. So beautiful, really didn't give me any issues upon application. The light purple in my crease looks pretty. I think it's one of those shades, as I mentioned upon application, that you really should use more of that packing motion. If you do too much blending, you're almost going to lose the color, and I had to just kind of work with it a lot and keep building up to get it where I wanted it to be. My least favorite shade is definitely Disco, which is this like indigo dark blue shimmer that I put on the outer corner. It didn't show up at all when it was dry and it would just fall all over the face, and then it did show up with a damp brush, but then it was just like sticking and not blending. I had trouble kind of making that into a gradient on the eye. And then lastly, I used the white shade Sea Salt, which I really like. Definitely a bright stark white pop on the inner corner, but I think it's fun for a look like this. So those are some initial thoughts on E.L.F's Retro Paradise palette. I feel very mermaidy. I really love these colors together. I think they're really gorgeous. I do want to go in and play around with this palette more though. I don't think it's fair to kind of tell you guys overall thoughts on this palette when I only used 4 out of the 18 shades. So I think I am going to make this like a multi-day kind of video and give you guys 2 looks using this. So I'm going to come back another day and I want to work with some of the neutrals. I want to see how more colors that are in my comfort zone kind of work out for me. I will be back in just a sec for you guys and we will get into doing another look with the E.L.F. Retro Paradise palette. Hi guys, I am back for look number 2 using E.L.F's Retro Paradise eyeshadow palette. Last time you guys saw me, I had just finished up the purpley blue mermaid look that I absolutely loved, and I was giving you guys some of my thoughts on those shades, but I really wanted to come back for a second look today to really dive into these warm shades, kind of move on over to this other half of the palette because I didn't feel comfortable giving you guys my final thoughts and stuff based off of a few colorful eyeshadows. Although how the palette performs as a whole, of course, is important. I know colors can be a little bit harder to formulate, and honestly, when I reach for this palette, I probably will go more towards these warms and neutrals, things that I go for every day anyways. I'm going to start here with the shade Dijon, which is a really interesting mustard color. In the pan, it's more of like that I hate to say it, but like that like baby puke color that used to be popular a while ago on YouTube that a lot of people would use. It's not a strong yellow. It's definitely more of that green type of yellow, if you guys can see it on the brush. Again, since I am just testing out the colors today, I'm probably gonna do something very basic, nothing mind-blowing. So I'm just going to start off with the shade Dijon and just start really fluffing that into the crease as I normally would. Oh yeah, it's definitely pulling a little bit more yellow in the crease than it is in the pan, which I love. I love a good yellow shade for the summer. There is a little kickback in the pan as well. As I said earlier, this is really not something that I really mind, if you guys can see, but it's really not horrible. The shadow's not like crumbling or anything like that. All right, so next step, I am gonna go back in with that same Dijon shade, and I'm just going to run this more kind of like precise in my crease on just a little bit of a smaller brush to really build up that pigment and that color. This is such a unique shade. I really love it. I hope it's pulling on camera how it looks in person. To further go in and deepen up the outer corner, this orange shade down here, Caliente, is calling my name, you guys. I love warm orangey shades. It's a really perfect, almost like a pumpkin-y orange shade. It looks so beautiful. And I'm just going to start packing this on the outer corner, and I'm going to slightly put it up into the crease. Ooh, I love this color. This is giving me like really intense fall vibes. This like mustard and the orange combined, super intense fall vibes, and I love it. So I pretty much ended up taking the Caliente orange shade all over my lid. I really wanted it predominantly on the outer corner, but as I started just like putting it into the crease, it got on the lid. But I am going to go ahead and add another shade there. I'm just still working on blending out this orange, and I love so far that these seem to be blending nicely, but they are still having like their own individual identity. I don't like when shadows, and I feel like a lot of cheaper eyeshadows tend to do this. Not necessarily though, there are some high-end palettes that do this as well, that they like blend into each other and it looks like one brown shade on the eye, whereas here I'm still getting that mustard and I'm still keeping the strong orange. So they're really like blending together, but still individual colors, if that makes sense. For the lid today, I want to stick with that like orangey vibe that I have going on. So I'm gonna take this shade right here, which is the shade Fortuna, and it is just like a beautiful like bronze, almost like a pumpkin pie type shade. This looks actually really similar to the Bite Size palette in Pumpkin Pie. There's a shade like this, but this looks like it's going to be really great quality. So I'm just going to apply this with my finger and see how this looks. It definitely is a very pretty lid shade. I don't think it's like the most intense or like the most metallic shade that I've ever tried on the lid, but I also think it might be blending in with that orange shade. I think if I had something else on the lid, it might pop a little more, but it definitely has a nice reflect to it, and I don't even feel like I need to wet it going in with my fingers. It's applying really, really nicely, and I am getting a lot of like pigment and color payoff. To deepen things up a bit today, I'm going to go in with the shade Spiced. This red shade is also another one that has been calling my name. I want to see how this looks on the outer corner. Ooh, this has a lot of fallout to it. Like, you definitely want to tap off your brush. This red shade right here, if that's focusing, definitely would want to tap off your brush before going in with this one, it seems. So here's the look so far. I definitely think it's cute. I don't know why I feel like it's missing something. The lid shade is fun. It's just looking a little flat to me. So I think I'm going to go in with this shade and see how it looks. I believe this is called Paraíso, I believe is how you would pronounce it. Don't hate me if I'm wrong. But this looks like a really beautiful bronzy shade, and it looks like it has just a little bit more of a reflect than the shade on my lid. So I'm just gonna kind of tap that in the center and see if that helps at all. This one's a little bit more glittery too, so I'm hoping it'll just add a little bit more dimension, it just feels a little flat, all of these shades. Oh yeah, I definitely think that's better. I see that little bit of the reflect on the center that like really desperately needed that. All right, so I just finished up and threw on the rest of my face and a lip. I just have to finish up the lower lash line, and I want to keep it nice and warm, so I'm going to take Caliente and Spiced mixed together on the lower lash line to get like a nice warm orangey red shade under there. For the inner corner, again, just like the last look, I'm gonna take Sea Salt, which is this very shimmery white shade. It's a really pretty inner corner shade. Like, it's really nice and brightening, which I like. I mentioned this in the last look. I typically don't love these really icy white inner corner shades, but this one is really pretty. All right, you guys, so here it is. Here is finished look number 2 using e.l.f.'s Retro Paradise palette. I am liking this look, super just like neutral, warm, definitely similar to looks that I've worn here on my channel. But as I mentioned, I really just wanted to test out the quality of the eyeshadows, kind of go through the whole spectrum of colors here in this palette. Speaking for both this look and the last colorful look, there's just something about these shadows that I like, but I don't 100% love. Like, I think they're good, standard, basic shadows, but I've just tried e.l.f. formula that's better than this. I think their bite-sized eyeshadows are better than this. I don't think it's horrible, but I have tried just better eyeshadows. There's just something about all of these that are just missing like that oomph, like so good quality. I'm not saying it's bad, it is fun. I love all the different colors in here to play around with, but I'm just not 100% obsessed, and I don't think this is a palette that you absolutely need in your life. Analyzing the look, I think it looks really pretty, but at the same time, I feel like some of the shadows are just a little bit dull. They are pigmented and they go on really nice and smooth, but that overall finished look just seemed a little bit dull to me. I feel like all of the colors, especially in the mattes, could just be a little bit more vibrant, and although they are nice and smooth and they blend easily, they're just missing that like vibrancy. So I might have to play around with these with a different base, but I felt like even with that red, I built up a lot of the color, and it's not like that hot fiery red that we see in the pan. And I would say that looking back at the colorful look, I could say that same kind of thing about the purple, but with the finished look, I feel like it got kind of lost a little bit and it didn't look as vibrant as it did in the pan. So overall, my final thoughts on the Retro Paradise palette is that I do like it. It's not a bad palette. I just don't think that this is necessarily a necessity. I don't think this is going to be like my new favorite palette. Again, maybe I have to change up the base, maybe I have to play around with it a little bit more or something like that. But is it like an absolute you need this in your collection? Probably not, but again, it is just fun to have if you're a makeup lover, if you collect eyeshadow palettes, or like I said, you just want something fun and new. $14 is not bad for what you get in here if you want to try it out yourself, but I don't think this is going to be like my new favorite palette or anything like that. All right, you guys, so that is going to complete this video. Those are my 2 looks and my thoughts on the e.l.f. Retro Paradise palette. Definitely let me know if you guys have tried this palette. If you have anything else from the Retro Paradise collection from e.l.f., please let me know what you think of it. I would love to know your thoughts. I really hope that you guys enjoyed seeing this video and spending time with me today. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Also, make sure you guys are subscribed to my channel before you leave. I would love to have you guys here as part of my little YouTube fam. If you don't want to miss out on any of my future videos, click that notification bell down below and you'll get notified every single time that I upload a new video. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys.